Hey, good afternoon, everybody. So this is going to be the watch list for Monday, March 25th. Kind of hard to believe that the first quarter is just about over, but let's do what we always do. Let's start with the two major indexes. So I'm going to start with the S&P 500 SPY. A couple things that I'd be looking for is just kind of watching how this trend line is going to be playing out over the last couple of days. You can see that we've been moderately just marching down a tad. Nothing majorly pressing, but the majority of the moves are happening after hours, as well as at the market close. So a couple areas that I'd love to see this pull back to before I would go long would probably be this 518. I would just be patient for it and wait and see what happens unless there's a catalyst to break us back above the trend line. So I probably wouldn't go long until we break above. Otherwise, I would be very patient for this 518 level, which is going to be a huge bounce level. So even if you take no trades, this is where you're going to want to put on some size and some potential risk for a significant move higher. Let's take a look at the triple Qs if we could. Real quick, I'm going to go back to the 1 day. Let's see what we got here. Some definite consolidation at the all-time highs. Let's get rid of that. And you can see that we closed with a little bit of indecision on Friday. So I'm going to take this down to a 1 hour time frame. And I think what you're going to see here is that we have, again, a little bit of a trend line yet to the downside, which is nothing to be concerned about when the market's been running so darn hard. But a couple price levels that I'd be watching. One would be this consolidation where we were at before, and you can see that we broke down and it's also right on the trend line. So what would I look for is then some consolidation or support down here at 444 before I would get long. So again, I'd be watching for a pullback to this 444 level, which we held really well back here pre-market on the 13th. And then we just kind of wandered. We finally got above it. And then again, we're using it as a support, pushing up. Let's see if it pushes down. If not, if we're going to go long, I'm going to want to wait personally for the trend line to break. Now, mind you, I'm going to draw the trend lines on the daily and the hourlies, but I'm going to trade it on the lower. So, right, I'm going to trade it on the 5 minute, just keeping an eye on it to see what it's doing. And then I'm going to get in and out of my entries on the 1 minute. So you can see we're kind of here mid-zone. I don't like to trade between the pivots. I mean, this is 50-50. Could go higher, could go lower. What you want to do is wait till we get down here for some support to push up, or get up here and wait for a reject to come back down. Let's take a look at another one of the strong ones this week, which was Microsoft. Was very strong. It has been yet again all-time highs, a lot of AI in the news. We did close a little bit lower on Friday, but look at the extreme wicking that it pushed all the way down to 426 and then back up to 428. So let's take a look at this on the 1 hour and see what we got here. Again, some really good overall, I think, just bullish consolidation. We're going to just take this as a overall pivot from a high down. And if you look where we've been, we've pushed down and then we've made it all the way back up to that prior pivot high. We got a little bit of consolidation going. And one thing that you could do here that might be a little bit intriguing is just to take a Fibonacci to see where the opportunity is to either stay short or go long. So we've already pushed up into the fib level on Friday. It rejected, it came down. If we get above this 428 and change, I think it's an opportunity for you to go long back to this prior high at 431. So some really good momentum in Microsoft. Let's see if that continues. Let's take a look at Apple. So Apple had the Justice Department that is coming in for some antitrust lawsuits. You will see that I still have my prior levels down here below. So where we had really strong support that goes back well over a year down at this 168 level. Significant sell-off last week. We kind of meandered a little bit higher. So this was the news event. It graduated up a bit, but you'll also note that we have really strong support right here at this level, which is about the 170, right? It's psychological, even in odd numbers. So we bounce, bounce again. We bounce a third time, and now we're up. So what would I look for on this one? Well, we could, again, let's take a look and see, do we maintain this or do we reject? So I'm just going to do a quick fib to see. Right now we're in between zones. So I would wait for a reject up here at maybe 173 to 174 to push lower down here into overall demand. But be cognizant of this 170 level because it has been very, very strong. Now, if we flush the 170, then we're probably definitely pushing down into the high 160s. So that's how I would look at Apple. Let's take a look at the next one, Tesla. A lot of EV discussion in the news, a lot of government rhetoric. But as you can see with this, and I'm going to go back to the 1 day, and we're going to start there, you will see that we are still in a fairly strong downtrend channel. So I'm going to draw a couple lines here. One is just to see what are we bouncing off of. So you can see we bounced all the way up here at 220. Then we bounced again at 194. We're bouncing a little bit again here at 160. But then do note the steepness of this trend that's on the downside. So what I would do here, again, we're working our way into this apex, and it's going to resolve itself either to the upside or to the downside. So if we're going to break back to the upside, what would I be shooting for? Well, my first price level is going to be 178, and then I would go to 205. But if we're going to break to the downside, then I think we're into the 150s. So could be some really good momentum in either direction, but I would definitely let this play out to see which way is it going to resolve itself. Because right now, again, it's a 50-50. Next one I want to take a look at is going to be NVIDIA. Tremendous amount of strength. We've talked about this one before. You can see on the daily, it has just been ripping higher. Let me get rid of that for you. Move this over and close it. But again, some really good overall, what I would say is bullish consolidation. It's definitely holding these price levels in the 900 range. So where would we go? Again, I would say back to the all-time high, back to this 974, and then psychologically, all the way, my next stop would be up to the 1,000 mark, which would be something that the market would probably try to push toward as the week progresses. But let's take a look at this on a 1 hour, see if there's anything that's more defining for us to look at here. You will note that we got a pretty decent uptrend that's just been moving up from a trend line perspective over the last couple of days. So we'll want to watch and make sure that this holds from a bounce perspective when we continue. Where would I go long? Well, again, I would wait for it to come down to the trend line, which is probably going to be on the market open somewhere around 925, give or take, and watch how it acts here before you decide to go long. If not, could be a short opportunity. And where would I take that short back to? Again, back here where we've had prior support. We've had prior support. We've had prior support. And so it would be to the 850 level, but that's quite a ways down. But as you know, with a stock that's almost $1,000, for it to move $25 to $50 in a given day is definitely possible. And we've seen this thing move over 10%. A lot of it's going to have to do with the overall volatility within the market. So those are some of the names that I'm watching. Trade smart, trade safe, and I will talk to you all next week. Always reach out if there's anything I can answer. I'm always happy to help. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.